that one? Tell another one.
I can tell a porcupine one if you want to tell a porcupine.
You don't have to tell that one. There's plenty of stories. If you like the porcupine, tell the porcupine, but otherwise tell something you like better.
Well, we had a porcupine come in this year. Another story. We had a porcupine come in this year. It was our first ever porcupine. They're not really native to this part of the state. They stop about Stevens Point as they come down from up north. It was a young porcupine, younger, it wasn't a baby. He showed up in the parking lot of Mounds Pet Food Warehouse on Monona Drive, or 51. Just out of the blue.
Middle of the day.
Middle of the day. All we can figure out is we really don't know where or how. Our suspicion is that he maybe hitchhiked. It was on a Monday, so our thought was that maybe somebody came back from camping up north and stopped for pet food before they went home and had a hitchhiker porcupine in the back of the boat or something. Some of us have thought, well, maybe somebody thought it was cute and they wanted it as a pet, but I don't see it. Having had to handle it or not handle it, I don't see why they, and why would it have ended up at Mounds?
Became too much.
So he came here. It was our first ever porcupine, but they're rodents, so we devised a diet. We talked to the zoo, fed him rodent chow, muskmelon. He loved apples. Got very docile very quickly. I was surprised us, like within 3 days, he was hanging on. He was in double cages, like pretty much like this, but he had the double door. And within 3 days, he was hanging on the side, making the weirdest noises, crying like a baby, making puppy noises, and ooh, and all kinds of other stuff. We checked with another rehab facility that does porcupines, Northwoods Wildlife Center up in Minocqua, and they assured us that porcupines, as a rule of thumb, get very docile very quickly, but they also stated that they tend to get very undocile very quickly. So I don't know if that's smart or stupid, but I did take him home to my place and finish rehabbing him, or keeping him there, because we were afraid with the number of volunteers that he was being exposed to, with his acceptance of people, that was probably better that he didn't see a lot of faces, and maybe it would help keep him wilder. And then he got bigger. In the capture of him, I wasn't involved, but a lot of different implements were used, and he did defend himself, and he was pretty much a naked porcupine when he came in. He had very few quills left. He had shed them all into the fish net and into the car tires and everything they were chasing him under. So he was a naked porcupine. Over the course of a couple of months, he grew them all back out. And I have a cabin up north, and so it was just a couple of weeks ago that me and a friend and my dog and the porcupine made a road trip, and we went up north, and I drove him miles and miles down a logging road into the state forest, and found him a big pine tree, because they eat pine needles. They eat all kinds of, they're vegetarians, they're a rodent actually. Their preferred pine is white pine, and we found it was a sunny evening, and drove until we couldn't drive anymore. Actually, my buddy said, I would prefer if you did not go any further, because I don't think we're ever going to get out of here. We got out, we found these cool pine tree grove. There was bear cub tracks in the mud, and it was a pretty cool place. And let him out, and he went to a red pine first. Just because through our reading I learned that they prefer white pines and don't really like red pines. And he walked up to the red pine tree, and he grabbed it, and he sniffed it, and he sniffed it, and then he walked away. Up to another red pine tree, and he sniffed it, walked to a white pine, he sniffed it like twice, and he just started marching right up it, like, white pine tree. He went up about 20 feet, wedged himself in a crotch, and just started eating pine needles like he'd never actually left, just munching away. It was cool. And then I unstuck the car and left.
He he also never wanted to eat pine needles in captivity. That's
Oh, he
one
wouldn't
thing
eat
we-
leaves or branches or anything here.
Yeah.
No, he wanted muskmelon.
Yeah. And whole oranges.
And whole oranges, yes. But, so that was different. Also, porcupines stink.
Mm-hmm. Like a weasel.
No. It was like driving up north with 6,000 roses in the back of an enclosed space. It was a really sickeningly sweet, nauseating smell.
Well, when he was here, he smelled like a weasel.
And my dog, who normally sleeps very quietly in the back and doesn't budge ever, about halfway up there, he's sitting up. And he's got this funny look on his face. And then about another 50 miles, he's putting his paw on my shoulder and like looking really pained. And probably 15 miles past that, and he's totally forbidden in the front. Like the rule is no dog enters the front seat. He totally forged the rule, and he just jumped in the front seat, looked at me like, I'm not riding with that thing, and curled up really fast and just like, I'm not moving. I'm staying here. So anyway, it was fun. We don't need any more porcupines.
No.